All right, we're going to talk about lesson 26, and depending on where we're at as far as the book, lesson 26, we're actually coming back to it. We've talked about lesson 27 and lesson 28, and now we're coming back to lesson 26 to take a look at some of these equations that are a little harder to solve. Let's take a look at the example that I have written down, and that's 2a plus 3 equals a negative 7. Now the first thing that I want to emphasize is on the left side of the equal sign. Notice that there's all unlike terms. So in other words, on the left side, I have 2a, that's one term, and then I have 3, which is another term, and those are unlike terms because they don't have the same combination of letters. Now on the right side of the equal sign, we just have one term, so there's nothing else that we need to look at. So I want to emphasize that on both sides of the equal sign, we have unlike terms. So there's nothing that we really can simplify or combine before we do anything else. So now we're going to solve this, and I want to review this. And to solve this, remember, there's two things that are happening. There's two things on the left side of the equal sign that are going on. And one of them is that they're adding 3. So on the side that the letter is on, the side that A is on, they're adding 3, and they're also multiplying by 2. Now we're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to subtract 3, and we're going to divide by 2. And we need to do our addition subtraction first, so the first thing we're going to do is subtract 3 from both sides. And in doing that, if we add 3 and subtract 3, then the 3's cancel out, and all we have left is 2a. Now on the right side, negative 7 minus 3, take away 7, take away 3 more, that's a negative 10. So we've taken care of this step. Now we're going to divide both sides by 2. And if you multiply by 2 and divide by 2, they cancel out. That's what we want to have happen. And just a is left. So we've isolated a. Remember, that's the bottom line goal for all of this as far as solving equations. Now, a negative 10 divided by 2 is a negative 5. And our solution then is a negative 5. If I go back and check that with the original equation and take 2 times a negative 5, which is a negative 10, and then add 3 to it, we can see that we get a negative 7. Now, let's take a look at really where this lesson's going. In our first example, we have 3m minus 7m equals 8m minus 6. Now, there's something that I emphasized on the previous screen. On the left side of the equal sign, is there anything that are like terms? Are there like terms over there? And there are, because there's two terms, and both those terms have the same combination of letters. Both of them have an m in it. So before we start doing anything, we need to simplify the left side of the equal sign and simplify the right side of the equal sign if there's anything to simplify. Now on the left side, let's see, 3 minus 7. So positive 3 minus 7. Remember, you always look at the sign right in front. So 3 minus 7 is a negative 4m equals, now 8m and the minus 6, those are unlike terms, so there's nothing I can do with that. So that's one new thing that we have in this lesson, is that if there's any like terms or simplifying to do on the left side or the right side of the equal sign, you need to do that. Now, the second new thing with this part 3 of solving equations is something else that's different from the equations that we've had up to this point, is that now we have the letter on both sides of the equal sign. So the first thing I need to do is try to get all the letters on one side. And usually it is easiest to pick on the smallest side. So in other words, here I have a negative 4, here I have a positive 8. Usually it's easiest if you pick on or eliminate the smaller one. And as we go through this in the next few days, you'll see why. Now I'm going to pick on the small one, which is a negative 4m. Now when you pick on something, you add or subtract something from it. So we're going to pick on that negative 4m, and I need to add something or subtract something to that to cancel it out. What can I add or subtract to a negative 4m to cancel it out? Well, the answer to that is I will add 4m. Because the negative 4 plus 4, they cancel, and I've eliminated it. But I remember the golden rule, what you do to one side you have to do to the other. So I'm going to add 4m over there. Now on the left side I just have 0 equals, let's see, 8 plus 4 is 12 of those m's minus 6. Now I've got an equation like I had on the previous screen. Now I can flip the two sides around if you want to and write this as 12m minus 6 equals 0. Now let's solve it for m. They're subtracting 6, so we're going to add 6 to both sides. Cancels. So I have 12m is equal to 6. Now let's see, they're multiplying by 12, so I'm going to divide by 12. The 12's cancel, and I have m left on the left side. Now what's 6 divided by 12? No, it's not 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. It's a half. So m is equal to 1/2. Now let's take a look at example 2, and this is probably going to be the last example that I do, just because I want to make sure that we explain this in somewhat detail. Now, as we look at the equal sign, on the left side of the equal sign, are there any like terms? The answer is no. On the right side of the equal sign, are there any like terms? The answer is yes. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to underline the like terms. So I have a p term, p term, p term. I can combine those. And then I have just numbers that I can simplify. So what I have now is 5 minus 6p on the left side of the equal sign. Now I'm going to combine my letters first, because I always like having the letter first. And in fact, in a little bit, on the left side of the equal sign, I'm going to reverse the order of that. So on the right side of the equal sign, I'm going to combine my letters. I'm going to combine the one-liners. So 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 2 is 19p. Now I'm going to combine my two-liners. Negative 7 minus 3. Take away 7, take away 3. I've taken away minus 10. Alright, so really what I have now, and I'm going to write my letter first over here. That's a minus 6p. So I have a negative 6p. The 5 is positive, right? There's not a negative sign in front of it, so it's a plus 5 equals 19p minus 10. Now, I would definitely, strongly encourage you, when you're doing these, to write these with a letter first. It makes it a little easier to see what they're doing to it. Right now, I've simplified everything on the left side of the equal sign. I've simplified everything on the right side. Now I need to get all the letter P's on either the left side of the equal sign or the right side. Now what did I say on the previous screen? It's usually easiest to pick on the smaller letter. Negative 6 is smaller than 19. I'm going to pick on the negative 6. Now when you pick on something, you add or subtract something to it. What could I add or subtract to a negative 6 to cancel it out? And the answer is add 6p. Because that makes sense. What's a negative 6 plus 6? Cancels. That's what I want to have happen. I want to have one side of the equal sign with the letters cancel out and then bring everything over to the right side. Well, if I add 6p to the left side, I need to add 6p over here. So what do I have now? I have 5 left over on the left side. 19 plus 6 is 25p minus the 10. Now I'm going to flip the two sides and simply write this as 25p minus 10 equals 5. Now I'll solve it. What are they doing to p? They're subtracting 10, so I'm going to add 10 to both sides, causing the 10s to cancel. That's what I want. So I have 25p is equal to 15. Now, they're multiplying p by 25. I'm going to divide by 25. And the 25's cancel. And all I have left on the left side is p. Now, what's 15 over 25 reduced to? If I can divide both the top and the bottom by 5, and I get 3/5. Or if you took a calculator and took 15 divided by 25, you would get 0.6, which is a good answer also. So, the theme of these examples is, with these type of equations, first of all, simplify the left side of the equal sign and the right side. So in other words, are there any like terms you can combine? Then the second thing is get all your letters on one side by picking on the smaller one. And remember, when you pick on a smaller letter or term, you add or subtract something to it.